Hello, and welcome to the Core Dog Experience. Here, talk Ohio State Buckeyes, talk college sports, bringing it to you from a fan's point of view. So if you're checking me out for the first time, hope you enjoy it, hope you look at some of my other stuff, and hope you hit that like, subscribe button, and come back to me and check out some more of my stuff. And if you're a returning person, thank you so much for helping me grow this thing out. Took a big jump in 2024, hoping to do more in 2025. So with that said, let's get into the latest game, Grambling. And before I go any further, let me just put this out there now. It's Grambling. I know this. We all know it's Grambling. Just wanted to get that out the way. It is Grambling. So everything I'm about to say is Grambling. We get it. It's Grambling. But still, there's Grambling. There's still some stuff you want to see given the competitions. There's still some stuff you want to see, even if it is Grambling. I'm glad it was Grambling. Some folks, we should have played somebody. Some folks, believe it or not, they want to play a top 10 competition all the time. Nah, we had a nice good run of playing some top 5 folks. This is a nice game to have every now and then for several reasons. That we will get into. Grambling. And the reason why this game to me is important, because of all the new faces you got. You couldn't do and put a lot of the folks in you wanted to, that you typically get to do of your first game of the season given the opponent. It was Texas. We just didn't get to see a lot of faces. The main thing coming out of that Texas game is you wanted to win the game. You were about the experience aspect for your other players down the road, and this is the game to do some of that. The reason why I was looking forward to this game is, of course, Grambling, the band. Some folks say, "Oh, keep all the money in state. Why we go? If we're gonna do this, just play them all Ohio. Just play all Ohio schools. Keep the money in state." Which we play in Ohio next week, y'all. I like it when we play Grambling before, cause like I said, the band. We all know this is a glorified scrimmage. So what better way to entertain your folks than to have the best damn band in the land, and a band from Grambling or a band from Southern on the same field at the same time? Who ain't gonna sign up for that? Just for the game day atmosphere for just the bands alone. So yeah, I like these type of games, and this in particular for that reason alone. Got to see some top-notch bands go at it. And then the Grambling coach even said, "Hey, we can compete on the bands. We compete with them with the bands." But the game itself, he knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. But with that said, there's some stuff you want to see. And mainly for me, how would Ohio State start the game? Because wasn't that long ago, these type of games, Ohio State, they look sluggish. They look lackluster. Have people wondering. So I was excited to see how they're going to come out and start out the gate, given the big boy battle they had last week. Were they going to be sluggish? Were they going to be lackluster? They came out firing on all cylinders. They were just right down the field. Some complaints was they didn't open it up. I understand the game plan. That was a talking point throughout the whole week. Texas outgained Ohio State. This, that, and the other. And that was by design. Ain't gonna rehash that talking point. It was by design. It was very vanilla offense. They were protecting their quarterback, which I get. So you expected them to open it up this game against Grambling, and they did that. They came out firing, went right down the field, and pretty much never looked back. Because not often, you knew they were going to be aggressive when they wanted the ball to start the game. Because how many times, that's rare nowadays for a team to want the ball to start the game. They rather see what goes on, and then if they had the opportunity, they want the second half kickoff. But you knew it was going to be an aggressive game plan when they won the toss and they said, "We want the ball first." It was like, this ain't going to be this is gonna be over before we know it, and that's how it played out. Within first few minutes of the game, you knew it was gonna be over. Period. They wanted the ball, went right down the field and scored. They got everyone involved. Hey, this is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see a team like Ohio State do what they did coming out the gates against a team like Grambling, and they did that. No lackluster stuff, no hangover from last week. You wanted them to come out and just drop the nail on Grambling, not give them no hope whatsoever. And that's what you expect not only of Ohio State in these type of matchups, but that's what you expect of the number one team in these type of matchups. You come out there, you lay waste to them and just let them know, thanks you for showing up, take your paycheck, but we're going to whip that butt. And that's what Ohio State did. We're going to whip that butt. We're going to get ready for the halftime show for the Battle of the Beds, which was great to see, like I said. But anytime you can do that against any team, boom, you do it. 70-0 when it's all said and done. It's still 70-0. It's hard to shut out an opponent. I don't care. Should have been 70-3. They missed the field goal. It was short, makeable field goal, but they missed it. But we'll take the shutout. Anytime you can shut out the team, you take it. I don't care who the opponent is. I don't care the situation. That just looks good on the scoreboard. 70. Anytime you put a goose egg up there on their team, that look good. 2 games in, they've only given up 7 points. Texas only got 7 points. So Graham, they can go home and say that, hey, Texas only scored 7 more than we did. They only scored 7 more than we did against that defense. So like I said, games like this, you're looking for improvement. You said, well, you're looking for improvement regardless. You want to see stuff that that you can build on. You want to see some development. You want to get a chance to see some of the folks you wouldn't typically get to see in a game like Texas, because you're not going to get a lot of bodies into the game. So this was the opportunity, if things have played out right, which they did, that you're going to see a lot of faces in this game, and that's how it pretty much played out. You wanted to see the further development from Julian Sand, because like I said, they was a vanilla offense last week against Texas, so you wanted to see if Julian could handle it the way the coaches thought he could, when they said they could have opened it up, but they didn't. They opened it up, and I think Julian proved his point. The dude's accurate. He is just flat on accurate. 16, they started the game 16 straight completions. New record, I think. Broke was it Will Howard's record? Whoever record he broke. 16 straight completions. Actually didn't have a ball hit the ground all day. 16 straight completions and the one INT. Teachable moment. Gotta have something to teach, right? Teachable moment. We'll get the INT, but 16 straight completions. They weren't the little ding and dime dunk variety. He was going downfield. He was hitting multiple receivers. I mean, the first couple drives, she's hitting the tight ends, receivers. No running backs yet. None of this things out for the running backs out of the backfield, but the tight ends were heavily involved. He had all the receivers, got them going, got Jeremiah going early. He was on point. His mechanics, like I said, mentioned last week, when all the hype was about Arch Manning, Julian Sand was a 5. Wasn't he the number 1 quarterback coming out when he came out? I think he was the number 1 quarterback when he came out, and it showed. He was, and games like that, you look for his command of the offense. How did he do the huddle? His adjustments he was making at the line of scrimmage when it needed to be done, and then just his accuracy. If you got an accurate quarterback, you can, the other stuff you can teach or get him there to some point in terms of how to run the offense, do other stuff, but he's just pinpoint accurate. A lot of stuff you didn't see from these other high-profile quarterbacks they like to talk about, like Arch Manning. His mechanics look bad. Didn't look all. Last week they looked bad. He wasn't as accurate. Some of the other quarterbacks, they just did not look accurate. Julian's saying he's accurate if anything, and his balls are on point. Um, it was good all the way around. That's the type of stuff you want to see in these type of games. From your quarterback position, how did he command the game? His throws, his mechanics. Did he look rushed? I mean, how the offensive line held up. Wasn't expecting a lot of pressure from Grambling, and they weren't able to put a lot of pressure on him. Hell, Texas didn't put a lot of pressure on him. But he was 18 for 19 at the end of the day, over 300 yards, the 4 TDs, and he had the one interception on by Grambling's goal line. They even pointed out on the replay, if he throws it on when Carnell makes that break, it's probably a touchdown. He waited maybe a tad second too late to make the throw, and the guy undercut it. So it was a good defensive play, but again, it was just that stuff comes with experience, and that's why these games are important. Something you can take away from that game from Julian is, hey, don't wait for him to get 2-3 steps out of his break. Do it just before as he gets ready to enter into the break and come out of it. If the ball's thrown a tad seconds earlier, that's probably a touchdown as opposed to an INT. So some things to take back for Ryan Day and staff to work on with him. Because you still want teachable stuff in games like this. So it's not all rosy stuff. Get them something to think about. So boom, on those out patterns, hit them a little tad second sooner. Avoid the INT. But the offense in general, they look good. They look crisp. No penalties. Not a lot of offsides, which in years past that was problematic. Or linemen jumping off sides. The running game got going a little bit, got going good, started opening up some holes, some cohesiveness between your offensive line. So stuff like that, you start putting together and building together, and hopefully they can build on it heading into next week. Just some cohesiveness, and that's what you look for in these games. Running good, like I said, was great. Good had its moments. The 3 running backs got to going up. We have the 4 running backs actually got in the game when it was all said and done. But looking at James Peoples' explosiveness, looking at CJ Donaldson, who scored again. I think he is going to be your thunder to the lightning that Peoples and Bo can bring. It was good to see that start to gel some. It takes a little bit while for the offensive line. You got some new faces there to get going, and this is going to be a thing that we need to see develop over the course of the year, like similar to last year. How by the time the playoffs came around, the offensive line was on point, given all the injuries they have sustained throughout the year. Again, that's why these games are important. You're seeing a heavy rotation of offensive linemen to see what they can do, to see who you can trust moving forward in certain situations. So it was good to get a lot of offensive line rotation going. Because you may need them. Like I said, how last year played out, you may need that depth along the offensive line. The favorite running play, the counter play that they ran with CJ. Now here's the difference between CJ in the running game this year so far and the running game last year. That counter play that Donaldson got caught on, which is becoming a staple of Ohio State offense. Same play Trevion ran last year. Trevion scores. CJ, not so much. Maybe run that play with Bo later on in the year, you score. But CJ, he ain't got the giddy up that Trevion has. So that's to be expected. But the running game in general looked good, but just the little difference there when you run that play with Trevion, and you get a little bit of light space, and he taking it to the house. CJ, maybe not all the time. Maybe run out of a different back. Maybe Peoples would have taken it all the way. Bo most definitely probably would have taken it all the way. But just stuff like that you can build on. And again, the passing game, that's what we folks wanted to see. What's going to look like when they open it up. Like I said, Julian started out 16 straight completions. Got Jeremiah going again, talking about records. 16 straight completions, record for Julian. The longest pass play at this at the Ohio State Stadium, 87 yards to Jeremiah. And how you leave him that open? I would say it's caused us grambling, but no, Oregon left. Did Oregon leave Jeremiah open or play after play in that game? So it ain't the competition, so I don't know. But you get Jeremiah Smith just running wide open behind your whole secondary. Maybe this one he's just faster than everybody else. In the Oregon game, it was maybe probably more scheme, but I don't know. But anyway, wide open Jeremiah Smith on several occasions throughout the game. But nice to him bounce back again. Just getting familiar and working with the quarterback, which I think is important. They take stuff like this and build on, moving on for the rest of the year. Just that relationship you have with your quarterback in games like this, glorified scrimmage or not, that's a good experience for this offense moving forward. Got several receivers involved, like Carnell's making plays. You mentioned Jeremiah, Ennis. They were off the tight ends were making catches after catches, which is good. Good to see the tight ends involved. And it wasn't all Max Clare. We had all the tight ends were getting some run. Thurman, Merrick, Bennett, all of them was just good to see that. Like the tight ends accounted for 6-7 catches, a couple touchdowns, nearly 100 yards in receiving. I mean, it wasn't that long ago I was wondering, like, if you were tight end, why would you want to come to Ohio State? So we had some good ones. We had Jeremy Rucker, Stoneburner was listed as a tight end, wasn't he? But anyway, I thought the tight ends that we had in the past were severely underutilized. That's why I was surprised we got someone like a Max Clare. We typically don't throw to our tight ends. But this is probably one of the deepest tight end rooms ever at Ohio State, because you've seen it, they go 4 deep on several plays. They did it in the Texas game, they did it this game. They got 4 tight ends lined up out there along the line. Got one of the freshmen, they are playing fullback. So tight end room has become, it's just, I never thought I'd see it, but the tight ends and they're being utilized in several sets and formations, which is good to see. Because when I said we have that stuff on the outside, Tate, Smith, Ennis, Graham, whoever we throw in there, your tight ends are going to be open. Like the first TD pass to Kazimierz, down the seam, middle, nobody on him because they worried about the outside. I mean, boy, it was wide open. So that's going to be great to see our tight ends being utilized more, because you can't focus. You're not going to be able to focus solely on our wideouts. But the offense looked good. Second half, we knew we were going to see a lot of new faces. Bo stole the show. First half, Julian's saying. Second half, Bo Jackson. Did you expect anything less with the name of Bo Jackson to come in and do what he did? He looked explosive. Quite honestly, he looked more explosive than Peoples, who's supposed to be the explosive back this year. But Bo, he just seems to have that extra little stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets utilized the rest of the year. To see if he's going to start getting integrated more. See if he's going to cut into not CJ's stuff. I think CJ's role set. He's going to be your pounding your back, your goal line back. I'm interested to see if he starts taking some of James Peoples' carries, who was supposed to be the explosive guy. Not saying he isn't, but Bo, I can see him having a bigger role as the year moves on, because he had over 100 yards rushing. Of course, buoyed by that 51-yard run he had. But he looks good. I think the future is bright at running back. West looked good, and kudos for Sam Williams-Dixon, who came back. He had entered the portal, came back. And I don't know if he's liking that decision now, but he came back. So but he got a little run, got him a TD as well. And again, just the offense and the experience we're able to get the offense and the other receivers were great. It was great to see. And again, this is why these types of games are important. This is why these types of games are important, to get your guys them experience that they otherwise will not be able to get once the competition ramps up some. So you use these games to get those guys ready in case they got to go in to those type of games down the road. So that was awesome. Offense looked good. Offense, defense. Do we need to say more about the defense? Defense looked outstanding again. I said they 7 points in 2 games. I don't care who the competition is. You only give up 7 points in 2 games. Your defense is doing something. Your defense is doing something. And you've seen some of the how they talked about the schemes Matt Patricia was doing last week with this week against Grambling. Played it right into that first INT for Caleb Downs. You saw on the replay, he lined up like he was going to blitz. Backed out of it. Sonny Styles blitzed instead. And Caleb dropped right into the passing lane. It was a hard catch, but he made the INT. And it was just a beautiful defensive scheme, tricking the quarterback. So perfect there. Caleb does his thing, gets the INT, and just the defense and style, just the defense in general, they played good. Real good game across the board from several players. One thing, they didn't get pressure. They stuffed the run game, but still, when he drops back to pass, you still would like to see some more pressure generated. That'd be my one itty bitty takeaway from the game is they're not getting pressure with their base front 4, base front 3. They shouldn't have to blitz all the time, especially against this opponent. You shouldn't have to utilize blitzing to get to the quarterback. But kudos to Grambling. They held up and they were able to keep our front 4 at bay for the most part in terms of keeping the quarterback. I won't say pocket clean, but they weren't able. House they had to blitz on occasion to get to him. But all in all, the defense had a great game. How can you not when you shut them out? Like I said, they did miss the field goal. Should have been 70-3, but who counting? Defense will take the 0. You miss it, you gotta make the field goal. I'm sure Grambling would have loved to get on the board just to say whatever moral victory you get from getting 3 points, but they couldn't even get that. But it was just great seeing against a bunch of different faces out there. They've been high on Pierce at linebacker. He came and he looked really good. And I think our hands are in great shape defensively because you've seen a lot of new faces come in there and contribute. Aaron Scott, the interception. I mean, if that was never mind. It hit the ground. Come on now. It did hit the ground. But just consistency. But when it comes to those type of bang plays. But Aaron Scott looked good. Sanchez looked good. We set a secondary. Even when we are set at our corner position. We are set at our corner position. Fahim, the lane felt look good. Fahim. He looked good. I mean, our defense looked good. Period. They look good. Hard to say that they didn't when they came in. Started getting rotated in early in the second half and still maintain the shutout. So that's stuff are you maintaining what the starters did? And they did that. They held up, maintained the shutout on the scoreboard. Now the one player we have Bo on the offensive side. Now, the player that stood out defensively out of the new group, all the underclassmen that got in there, it was Riley. Who made a bigger impact in the amount of time that he played than Riley Pettyjohn? It was the recruit from Texas. I see why they wanted him. Boy ball. Not only had the scoop and score, be in the right place, right time, with that McDonald stuffed the running back. Riley right there picked it up. Got his TD coming out the halftime, right there in the middle of the play, and then he made the picture perfect tackle. Was it a series or 2 later? Forced another fumble that was recovered by yet another. I ain't gonna even try his name, Eli or whatever his name is, but another freshman that covered. That thing was just a picture perfect tackle, and again, the future looks bright at linebacker for Ohio State. Right now we got Styles and Alvaro Reese going, and pretty soon you're going to have Peyton Pierce and Riley Pettyjohn manning those spots, and we ain't going to miss a beat we're not gonna miss a beat. Defense is not going to miss a beat. Well, I don't think so at all. My only complaint about defense is more quarterback pressure. Get some more quarterback pressure. Go back to the rushman package. Edric is a converted defensive end, so I bring in the 4 defensive ends. You got Kenyatta, Curry, Atkinson, C.J. Hicks. Just a smorgasbord of riches there. Just got to get them more, little more up the field. And our defense is going to be set. It's going to be hard scoring on this defense, just like it was last year. But game plan wise, they look good. They did what they needed to do against this team. A lot of faces. I think they accomplished what they wanted to do, both offensively, defensively. Got to see a lot of new faces. And more importantly, biggest concern out of these types of games is no one got hurt. Can't say that for them. That's what, excuse me. When these lesser teams come in or FCS teams come in, you don't want their players to get banged up either because they don't have the depth. But they had a lot of Grambling guys going out left and right. Just the physicality of the game itself that teams like these Power 5 teams can bring on occasion, especially the upper tier Power 5 teams. You don't want to see anyone get hurt, but especially on the Ohio State side, no one got hurt. Healthy game. Get ready for next week and see if some of these guys can continue to work way into the lineup. But Ohio State did what they needed to do, 70-0 against Grambling, and looked every bit like the number 1 team in the nation, which some folks were questioning after last weekend's tilt of games. Who should really be number 1? You have people wanting to leapfrog some other teams up to number 1, even though you had the number 3 team, number 2 in some polls, just beat the number 1 team. But still, for some folks, that wasn't good enough to make them number 1. But we will get there. Some other games, big games. The biggest one, the biggest upset. I think let's start off with the upset. Florida goes down to South Florida, which it's not as shocking as it probably would have been, given that South Florida the week before knocked off Boise State. They got the best 2 wins or the season so far now is South Florida if you're going by the preseason rankings. I think both wins came on the road. I don't know, were they home against Boise State? I don't know, you can drop it in the comments. I don't know if they were home or they went into Boise and won 2. If they went into Boise, then turned around and went to Florida and won, they need to be a top 15 ranking or something. Those are the best two wins on the season. Unranked team beating 2 ranked teams the first 2 weeks of the season. Got to get them some type of jump. If you're going to want to jump LSU all the way from number 9 or 10 all the way to number 1 based on 1 victory, then you can jump an unranked team up into the top 10. I'm just saying. Just said, but Florida did not look good. 18-16 lost and just bad coaching. So bad coaching down the stretch. I don't know what they're thinking. We saw the game. They could have ran out the clock or forced South Florida to do some stuff. They gave them too much time. Too much time because they throwing the ball instead of running it. Make South Florida use their timeouts, but they throwing the ball, throwing incomplete passes. Gave South Florida time, and they came back and bit them. SEC in general, so that's the game they lost. The other games, they looked lackluster. They just didn't look, for all the talk about the middle of the pack of the SEC better than the middle of the pack of the Big Ten, which is still debatable, but you wouldn't know it by how some of these games played out. Georgia, struggling, looking pedestrian against Austin Peay. It was 28-6. That's not what I was expecting. LSU, the team that they wanted to leapfrog Ohio State because they beat Clemson on the road. You just don't go into Clemson and beat Clemson on the road. They deserve to be number 1. even though the number 3, what the LSU was number 9 last week, whatever they were. But because they went into number 4 and 1, they need to leapfrogged all the way up to number 1, according to some of the ESPN talking heads. But we know about that. But based on the way they look, and based on the way that Clemson looked, really, LSU 28-7 over Louisiana Tech. But yeah, that's your number 1 team. All right. That hangover I was talking about, that I'm glad you didn't see of Ohio State. Yeah, LSU had a hangover. I guess going into Death Valley, I don't know. And then Clemson, the team that got so much hype coming into the season. Clemson, not only they lose their first game, they didn't look good doing it, but damn it, they down 16-0 to Troy. Yeah, they came back and won, but 27-6, whatever it was, because Troy imploded more than anything from the parts I did see. Ain't nothing like Clemson was doing. Troy's their own worst enemy. But yeah, 16-0. But yet, not to say they won't go on to do stuff, because Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois last year, so we'll see. It's a long season, but early returns aren't good. That's all I'm saying. Early returns are not good for the SEC. When you want to compare the two, yeah, Iowa lost to Iowa State. I mean, Iowa was the first time Iowa State was the ranked team in that matchup. That's forgivable. Other than that, I think the Big Ten, did the Big Ten lose any other games? Oh, excuse me, we did. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Michigan had a chance to go into Oklahoma and make a statement, and they couldn't do it. And I don't care, they look bad in the process. Defense might be good. I ain't going to do, for defense look decent. Defense look decent. The offense, offense still got some work to do. And I ain't going to go jumping on the quarterback. Yeah, he got the big NIL deal, but same thing can be said about him or was said about Manning. Even though to a bigger degree, because he's a true freshman. Arch Manning been in that system for 3 years. Like I said, there was a reason why he didn't beat out Ewers and it showed in that Ohio State game when Texas played Ohio State. Arch this, Arch that. Arch didn't look good. And he's been in the system for 3 years. So I don't know what we were expecting from Underwood in his first true start, first true freshman on a hostile environment, night game against a good opponent. And he looked every bit like a true freshman. He's gonna get better. I ain't gonna come down too hard on him. But he looked like a freshman that I won't say he was in over his head, but Moore didn't really trust him. Get back to the accuracy point. He missed a lot of open throws. Unlike Julian, like I said, you say what you would about the competition. Julian, if anything, is accurate. Some of these things can be said accurately. Some of these other quarterbacks have accuracy issues, and Bryce was one of them. He had his blow up on the sideline, which, he's a young player. Frustrated at that point in the game, so I get it. I ain't gonna rail on the young man, because I think at the end of the day he's gonna be good. You can see the potential, but he had a rough outing. In a tough environment, and the better team won. So we will see. But Sharon Moore, so like the Florida coach, he makes a lot of bad decisions. Some of the stuff can be said about him, scared to open it up. Or it could be using the same stuff. You don't want to destroy the young man's confidence the way Ohio State sort of protected Julian Saint in that first game. Thing was, Ohio State was able to be at home. They protected them, and he came out with the win. Underwood on the road, they tried to protect him. Michigan couldn't do the other Michigan teams. Other aspects of the Michigan team couldn't hold up during the bargain to make sure they got the win. It'll be a good growing experience for him. So we'll see how that plays out the rest of the season. But Iowa lost, Michigan lost, and to me the SEC didn't look all that. Team that looked really impressive is Oregon. Let's just be real, 69-3. Is Oklahoma? Are they dropping out? Are they going to go down to FCS? I mean, if you're going to do all that talking, if you're the coach doing all that talking, you got to have a better showing than that. You got to have a better showing. 69-3. Grambling would have gave Oregon a better 69-3. That's just embarrassing if you're a Power 5. If you're coming from a Power 5 conference. Power 3 now. That's embarrassing if I'm Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State. He still got a job? I think so. And then if you can we give UCLA back? Can the Big Ten say, you know what, psych? UCLA, it's just. I bet Tennessee glad he gone. All that stuff about Nico, I mean, I'm glad they swapped. UCLA not looking good. Nico not looking good. The whole situation surrounding Nico not looking good. Anyway, there's no mulligans in conference realignment. No. Damn. Anyway, we will see. But all in all, Saturday was good. On Saturday evenings, it was nice to be able to watch a Saturday afternoon, morning game, whatever, and not be stressed out throughout the course of the game like we've had to the last several times Ohio State stepped on the field. Nice to go in there knowing we were going to get the win. Nice knowing that we could have called out the score if we wanted to. That's the type of game it actually was. We could have named the score. But it was nice. So we'll see. And we'll see. Got Ohio up next for all you wanting to keep the money in the state of Ohio. Well, we got Ohio coming up next, and they should be more challenging. I do believe they knocked off West Virginia, I believe. So we'll see. That might be good now. They got Ohio State's attention. They knocked off West Virginia. So it may not be the cakewalk. Should be easy. May not be the cakewalk like some folks might have otherwise thought. Anyway, so interested to see what your guys' take is on the game. Giving the opponent, did you see some stuff that you were encouraged by? Anything that you were discouraged by following that game? Biggest thing to me is the lack of QB pressure from the front four. Other than that, hard to fault anything that was seen. Any comments on some of the other games? Florida losing to USF, Michigan going down to Oklahoma. Like I said, typically I try to root for Big Ten over any other conference because I just do not like the SEC. But I ain't mad at the win for Oklahoma. I'll just leave it at that. Not mad about Oklahoma's win. Disappointed in Iowa not being able to pull it out. But other than that, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. So again, hit me up in the comments what you didn't like about the game. What you think about the performance of anyone in particular stood out besides Riley Pettyjohn, besides Bo Jackson. Isaiah West got in there. I thought it was a good game all the way around. So again, did a lot in 2024, trying to grow more here in 2025. Baby steps, trying to get bigger and better. So as we go and get prepared for next week, you know how I do it. OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.